Well, in the non-stop effort for full disclosure, I'm going to go ahead and show the last cut too. I did find on the bottom of the chain, because you hit a rock or something, some of the corners were kind of dinged on the bottom of the chain, the side that rides down here. I did just take a file and just go through and just give them a few swipes right in, just in the corner, not a full filing, so try to clean them up. I don't expect this pass to be as fun as the last one, but I think it'll be fine. We'll see how it starts. And I went inside and measured. I need 7'4" for the template and 25.5 wide. So I think I'm plenty good to get this punky side off. I think actually I can skew the template along this edge like this, and it will even help. So I think there's plenty of wood in this piece right here. I do believe this is a black oak and it's not white oak. I believe it's a black oak. They thought it was white oak, but it's not. Just for full disclosure, the sawdust I'm getting out of here, the look of the slabs, it's definitely in the red oak family, and it's not a red oak. So I believe it's a black oak. And we're going to go ahead and fire it up, make one more pass, and you guys will get to see the final slab just the way it comes off. I don't know whether I'll need to choke it. We'll try it without choke first. That's pretty good. This saw's been off for, I don't know, 15 minutes or something like that, so that's not bad. This one, you've already actually seen the top of this one. Let's see what the bottom looks like. I'm going to end up putting these on the top. Yeah, that one's nice and solid. That's what I'm looking for. This slab's nice and solid. And it's got all kinds of rays on it through here. This is good. I'm glad I did that. So, I'll give you a look at how smooth it's got to get. One problem that I was having there was this funky side right here was grabbing me as I was pushing. I was kind of tough. So, if you look at this one, because obviously it's the carbon copy of the bottom of the other one, which isn't going to be a problem because that bottom of that one's going to be the top of the bottom of the countertop. But see how good it was cutting still. Now you could see when the punky stuff was grabbing me, I had to rock a little bit to kind of get this out, to get down the side. And you can see one little mark right there. I mean, it's nothing. I'll zoom in on it. It's nothing. The rest of the slab looks really good. It's really nice and smooth. I mean, it's going to be the bottom, so it doesn't matter. It's kind of cool grain fig. You can see there's no cracks here. This will be a cool table right here. So I think if you use this for an outside sitting table, like around our fire pit over there, if you put a log under this end and get it up level, probably be just about the right height to put in front of chairs. Use as a nice cool table. I'm going to actually probably give this back to the customer that brought me this log that's getting the two 3-inch thick ones. I'll put those 3-inch thick ones back on top of this and give it back to him as a whole. And that because he's a landscaper and he'll be able to use this as an outside table. And then I'm going to use, I believe, this top slab is going to become that countertop. It's got great rays in it. I don't know if you can see those over there, guys, in the light. That whole side's beautiful. That's going to be the side facing out. This will be the straight edge on the back side over here. So I think the straight edge is going to kind of go like this, 25.5 to 26 out to that front edge. So they'll get all those rays. I will move it. I'll move the template down as much as I can to get as much out of any of those crack checks as I can, and then I'll put bow ties in the ones that I have to. This end's really, really solid. You can tell by this slab here, you know, there's nothing in it at all. The only cracks are way down there, like right there. And that one crack definitely goes all the way through that one, but the rest of it is all nice and solid. So that's the countertop. And all I got to do is get them all put away now. So I'm going to pack up all my gear. Well, you can see here, you can see how much fuel I used on that pass. See where that is? Hopefully, if I get my eyes right. What happens is my polarized glasses, I can't see through the viewfinder at certain angles. But you can see how much fuel I have left in that pass. So I was actually nervous on that pass for some reason, but it cut terrific the whole time. Nice and flat, nice and smooth. These are not going to take, this will not take almost anything to clean up. They've got beautiful figure in them. They're going to be gorgeous. It's going to be a gorgeous piece. And yeah, I'm glad I did it that way. I think total, so let's just say like maybe the first pass was like a 6 to 8 minute pass. The second pass was probably like an 8-minute pass. So we'll call that 15. Let's just call this 15. That's 30 minutes of milling right there. So those two big 3-inch thick slabs and those two 2-inch thick slabs, that's about 30 minutes of saw run time. I burned 1 gallon of gas exactly, minus this is pretty much empty. It's pretty much empty, and what I have left in the tank. This saw sitting for at least 2 years. Fired right up, ran perfect, fired up every time. I have 5 of these. I think I'm actually, one of my buddies who's a tree guy who gives me a lot of wood, I'm going to give him one. You can see how clean my chain stayed. So any of you that mill oak and you come out of your cuts, when you get done and your chain's all covered with dust and shit, you see how clean my chain is? Now that's not all oil, that's sharp too. Once these get rounded over and they start really pushing through and those cuts start taking 15-20 minutes and 2 tanks of gas, you'll get sawdust burned all on these teeth. These are beautiful. Look at these teeth. I mean, it's like they weren't even run. They're actually cleaner than when I came out. They're cleaner when I first sharpened it today. This chain is cleaner than when I first sharpened it today. I don't know if I can zoom in on it, but this chain's nice and clean. Obviously, I'm sure that my air filter's stuffed. Let's see. So that's just, 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts. And I cleaned this before we started. Check this out. It's not that bad, actually. It's really not that bad. It's not stuffed. It's dirty, but it's not stuffed. That's not bad at all. I've cut close to the ground in dry conditions and had it way worse than that. So, could not possibly be happier with these saws and the way they run. I know that in my early days when I was first building these, I was putting the steel stickers on them. I know it's not a real steel. All the replacement parts that I put into these, anything that breaks is steel. This one right here, you got the chain adjuster is steel. It's got an Oregon clutch in it. The trigger mechanism is steel. It's got a steel Elastistar on it. Real steel Elastistar. Caber rings, 99 cc's, 56 millimeter. It's got the Walbro WJ76 on it, the big Brazil carb. What else in this? It's, like I said, cable rings. The can's empty. It's a triple port, so you got the 2 ports there, and then usually I put a port over there. That one's not a very big one, actually. So it's like a triple port. Can't think. Some of mine have the steel recoil drum in them. I'm not sure if this one does or not. This one, oddly enough, I don't know why, this one's still got an aftermarket decompression valve in it, and usually they fail, and I put the steel in. This has still got an aftermarket decompression valve, and this one actually starts like a dream. I don't get those donkey kickbacks with this one. It does have a lot of time on it. It does have steel bar studs. I order those right away when I put one together, and it's got steel bar nuts. You can see this one right here is a steel bar nut. This one right here looks almost like a Pharmatech one, but this one's a steel one. So at some point in time, I must have lost that one. Gramberg mill, that's a 56 Forester with, I believe, Carlton chain on it, because I think, other than the chisel chains that I made up, that were the skip tooth chisel chains that I made up for this when I was doing a big silver maple that I never use because they cut so rough. I think all my chains for this are Carlton. So that's pretty much the ins and outs of this. So control rod so that I get the high idle setting, bar studs, the chain adjuster, and I can't say decomp valve on this one because that one looks like a Pharmatech. It's got the HD filter in it, the steel heavy duty filter. It's got Elastastart, cable rings, the 56 millimeter jug. I don't know whether, like I said, the internals on that are steel, but they probably are. And I think that's pretty much it. The rest of it is Pharmatech. Pharmatech cases, so Pharmatech cover, Pharmatech muffler, top end, whoever is making them. Interesting enough, I did meet the manufacturer. This is going to be interesting, so I'll give it a minute while some of you, if you're not interested in this shit, then just sign off. But while I was at the logging show, I did meet the manufacturer who manufactures Pharmatech stuff and Neotech. Now, I talked to her for a little while, and her two reps, they wanted me to take saws with me. Because I was telling her, you know, I was walking by and I saw the saw. I said, oh, you got a Pharmatech Hustle saw. She said, and she was Asian, and she said, oh, you know Pharmatech? And I said, yeah, I know Pharmatech. I said, there were about really 3 or 4 of us, 4 or 5 of us that made Pharmatech kind of famous. If I throw my name in the hat and say I'm one of them, who got in kind of on the ground floor, building and running these saws on video so people could see them and got them buying them. And you got Matty Olson and Walter Glover from a Fleet Command, Kimball Cody from out west. Kimball Cody did a lot with them. I would say it was just us in the beginning, back say 9-10 years ago, who were running these saws on videos and putting them together on videos. Of course, I learned from Walter. The first saw I put together, I watched Walter's video putting it together. But I think that there were a few of us that really kicked it off. Now, I know that I think Pharmatech obviously they give Walter a lot of stuff now. I think they gave Kimball Cody some stuff. They never offered me anything. They never, as far as I know, I don't think they offered Matty Olson anything. There was also, I'll give him credit, I'm not crazy about the guy, and I don't think he's a very good builder, but Bedford Teague also, he had stole the one chainsaw guy from the West Coast Saws, and he was putting saws together too. So I think really there were 5 of us, because Bedford did a lot with the Pharmatech stuff and was very active on the forums. He just wasn't a very good builder. He's tough to get along with. You couldn't question the guy, or he shit his pants. But yeah, so they wanted me to come down and start dealing their saws, buying direct from the manufacturer that sells to Pharmatech. And they also told me that the owner of Pharmatech, Manny, the owner of Pharmatech, he also owns Neotech, so it's the same company. So, you know, on all these forums where they're fighting about Neotech and Pharmatech and which one's better, Manny owns both companies. And this manufacturer makes all the stuff for Manny. And so they were saying to me, why don't you just get them direct from us? We'll give you saws to bring home with you. We want a dealer down on the Cape. And I just told them, I said, look, contact me. I said, I don't want to do that right now. So I actually turned them down. They'll contact me eventually, I'm sure, through email. I did give them a card, and whether they look me up or not, or if they look me up as Billy Prophet on my card, they probably won't find the YouTube channel. But it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I don't want to be, like I told them, I said, look, you know, if I start peddling you saws to every Tom, Dick, and Harry in my whole area, all I'm going to do is be fixing them. You know, because there's no doubt, you know, this saw in my mill saws, when I was milling full time for several years, keeping these saws running is you know, a job in itself. And once you find that sweet spot where you get the stuff switched out and you find the right combination, like in this saw, and then you build the rest of them like that, it would probably cost me, so these saws were about $200 in the kit. but it would cost me about $500 to build one, not counting my time. Just with the stuff that I would buy, the seal kit, I would automatically get the seal kit. The Walbro was usually between 60 and 80 bucks for the Walbro WJ76. The cable rings were like, I don't know, they're not very expensive, like let's just call them 12. I would get the high output oiler out of the high output oiler. I was buying the Irish ones. There was an Irish knockoff of the high output oiler, and then Pharmatech came out with a new one. I did get 5 of theirs. I have them. I don't even think I put them all in yet. I still run these. This is using right now a tank per cut. Just to show you, for those of you who have held on, don't know how many people are going to hold on this long, but if you're interested in this stuff, it's important, I think. Just to show you that I'm not bullshitting. I don't know how the light's going to show up, but you know, it's pretty much right down to empty right now. So it used just about a whole tank. It's definitely using 1-to-1 because I'm not emptying my fuel either, but it's way down there, down in the bottom of the tank. So this high output oiler is putting out just about 1-to-1. If I burn the whole tank, that oil tank would be just about empty. I've never had it go empty on a tank, but it runs just about 1-to-1, so it does oil fine. And to those people that say, well, it won't oil a 56, it won't oil a 36. I mean, there's people out there that say it won't oil a 36. I run this setup without an auxiliary oiler on my 36 and my 42. So if my 42 is running in my 36-inch mill, because it maxes out the 36-inch mill, I don't run an auxiliary oiler. The saw oils it fine. So I don't know where that comes from, but I know that Pharmatech had a problem with the early oilers. They did, even turned all the way up, they'd only oil about 1/2-to-1. So if you burned a whole tank of fuel, you only used about 1/2 a tank of oil. So you did have to upgrade. But I know the Irish high output oiler knockoff was only like $27. So I would order all the parts before I got the saw. So my parts would all come in. I'd usually have the parts before I'd get the saw kit, and then I would put it together and just use the better parts. Shim the chain adjuster, put the steel chain adjuster in it. I've never had, the only steel chain adjuster shimmed that I've had fail was a saw I gave out to a logger who wrecked it. He stripped it. It's the only one that I've had fail. I've never had one fail. You kind of learn how to tighten and use the saw head while you're doing it, and not just try to reef on it until it strips. But I mean, I tightened down, 56 tight. You look at it, still after milling all that, those people that say, well, you can't get chain tight with this, that's 56, it's still tight. So I'm not saying they're great. I've got all OEM saws too. I can tell you this, in my shop, on my floor, every saw that I have in to be fixed that's broken, which is about 10, are OEM saws. None of my clone saws are broken. My 272, which is an OEM saw, I have a problem with the pull cord, but it's an aftermarket pull cord. So I've got a 461 in there that's blown up. I've got two 192s, a 200T, so two 192s, a 200T, 359, 371, and the other one I think is a 362, but I have an MS261 and an MS250. all in there, all broke. So, you know, if you don't think the saw shops are full of broken OEM saws, you're crazy. So, you know, tree services bust OEM saws every day, all day. So for what I get out of these, I'm crazy happy. Could not be more happy with what I get out of these saws. These saws have been milling. They've only milled, you know, I've done some falling with them, but overall they've only milled their entire lives. And I pull them out and fire them up, and away they go. So that's my 2 cents. I'm going to get packed up and call it a day here. And I just killed 2 birds with 1 stone here. And I'm going to get to work on their countertop. I hope you guys say a prayer for my friend who's sick. He's a very, very sick kid. He's into, at this point, he's got so much cancer in him that he's got so much cancer in him that they're just trying, they're throwing everything they can at him now. They're just trying experimental stuff. You know, Brigham and Women's, Mass General, they've run, and they're the best cancer. Dana-Farber, Brigham and Women's, Mass General, they're the best cancer places in the world. And there's nothing more they can do for him other than just throw the kitchen sink at him, and he's just taking it like a champ, big smile on his face. Fucking great guy. And one thing I will do is I will promise you that I will make that perfect for him, so that when people walk in their house, they just go, wow. So hope you guys have a great day. Hit me up. Thanks for the watch. Any questions you have about this stuff? I know this is what a sawyer does. If you think a sawyer only sits around behind a sawmill all day, you're wrong. That's a sawmill operator. This is the shit that a sawyer does. So cut apart big logs like that, and you know, watch guys like Jake Dean and what he does. And I got a rant I want to go on about another channel, but I don't want to do it right now. So God bless all of you for watching. I appreciate it. Pirate Solutions out.